Yes, so nice to hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
Girls, I'm so puzzled. Today I had a lesson with elementary, and the topic was like internet communication and like such crazy things like crowdfunding
Mm-hmm.
or opinion leader and influencer. And my students, there are some of programmers in our group, and they just began correcting me. There was a hot discussion, disputes between these guys. And as well as I was recording this lesson for Galia, so it's like very, and now I need to give some explanations for my students, like what is the difference, if any, between opinion leader and influencer. And I'm just Googling, yeah,
Where did you
because
find the word opinion leader?
no, it wasn't, but one of the students said, but
Uh,
Nastya, is this a synonym? And I'm, let me know, I will write you.
Are you supposed to give these answers to your students?
Yeah, of course. They usually puzzle me with such like how to say заземлять, because we had приземляться в самолете, take off, and how to put yep, заземлять в сфере физики. So
So
sorry.
you never know what to expect even from elementary students and sometimes
Yes.
even from beginners.
I don't even know what заземлять is in Russian.
Come on, when you're drinking too much and you're lying on the bed, you have to заземлиться.
I don't drink too much.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's connected to
Physics.
electricity, that you need to hide something in the
Yeah,
ground. Yeah.
Yes.
That's absolutely right.
Okay.
To ground, that will be заземляться. To ground, easy. Sorry.
Yes, as always, easy.
Yeah,
in
very
English.
useful knowledge.
So,
I will
ladies,
definitely use it in my everyday life. Sorry.
ladies, what is our topic today? So today we are having a workshop, and this is the workshop that didn't have training before. And what is the topic of this workshop?
How to boost students' creativity.
Yes, exactly. How to boost students' creativity. But first, as it was written on the agenda, we will discuss the notion and the concept of creativity and situation conditions that can promote students' creativity. And my first question to you is, how do you personally understand creativity? What does creativity mean to you?
When you are buzzing with ideas about something, anything.
Something not regular, something outside the box.
Like this is a talent given from the heavens to people.
So it's not a skill, it's just a talent.
Maybe as well as skills.
Maybe a skill or a state of your mood.
Yes, so sometimes we can use something to promote and boost our creativity as well. Yes, and first, let's go from the opposite. Let's try to think about what creativity is not. So people, unfortunately, sometimes, or even not sometimes, they have some misconception of what creativity is or can be. So first of all, creativity is not just for artists, writers, and painters. It can go across different spheres of our life. Even if it is an engineer at some factory or plant, this person can be creative enough to create something extraordinary, something absolutely new and innovative. So it's not just for artists or some gifted people from the sphere of art. Secondly, creativity is not necessarily a result or a sign of mental illness. Yes, because some people are convinced that only famous people like Van Gogh, yes, who had obvious mental disorder, only such people can be creative. No, it's not. So absolutely mentally healthy people can be creative as well. And it's not a fixed trait that only some people possess. And it is not the same as IQ. So it means that a person may be not intelligent enough in some sphere of knowledge, mathematics, chemistry, or something else, but at the same time, this person can be really creative. And unfortunately or fortunately, creativity is something beyond measurement. So there are no tests, there are no I don't know, questions that can measure creativity and they can show that you have 90% of creativity and he has 70% of creativity. So this is what is the opposite. And creativity, this is a quote, it isn't just about innovating or making art, it's about living creatively. So we can approach any situation in life with a creative spirit. You have a very simple example of it when you cook, for example. As we are only ladies here, yes, so you know that in the kitchen you can be as creative as it's only possible. Yes, so it's everyday life, but at the same time you can apply some
Decorate the
creative...
plate.
Yes, yes, or experiment with ingredients of some common dish, but it will be creative. And a well-accepted definition of creativity is just like generation of a new product. You had some kind of similar idea, and this product is new and appropriate in a particular scenario. And what else? Some researchers, they distinguish between several stages of creativity. And this is quite interesting because most people, they are familiar with big C creativity. So these are rare ideas of extraordinary people, like Van Gogh, for example, or Mendeleev. And it can be also mini C creativity, when a person can learn something new and their understanding of the world changes. This is an example that we can observe at our lessons. You can have a lesson with even elementary level group and you taught them maybe present continuous for arrangement and they are shocked, they are surprised, and they understand that, wow, now my life will not be the same. So this is, for them, it's an example of mini C creativity. So they got some information that can change their way of thinking and their way of acting, if it's possible as well. And of course, it can be little C creativity. It's what we can observe in our everyday life. When you are preparing your lesson and suddenly you come up with some simple idea and you try to implement this idea in your lesson. It's nothing revolutionary, it's nothing really new, but it's unusual, and maybe it's something that you have already done, but you have forgotten about it, and now you just recalled it and you try to implement it into your everyday action and this kind of stuff. And as we were also talking about what creativity means, right now I want you to look at several statements. So as we now have 7 participants, so it would be logical to work in groups. So you will have cards and your task will be to discuss whether you agree or disagree with these statements and how can you use it, or if you have already used it at your lessons, and was it helpful for you, was it helpful for your students or not. So you have a link to Bamboozle study mode. So you have a statement and like on the back side of the card, you have extra idea. And you don't need to guess, you don't need to give the correct answer or something else. And just discuss if you agree with it or if you disagree. So please join your partners. So there were a few points connected to instructions and also a few points connected to strategies and models. How did you understand this option that you can change the way you teach or the way you present some material or the way you introduce some tasks? How can you make it more creative and more unusual to your students?
We use words create, develop, something else.
And also it can be possible to show to your students, to demonstrate to your students that you also have some kind of creative process. And you can say that when I was planning this lesson, I was preparing to present this material in 2 ways. So right now I will demonstrate you these 2 ways, and please think about or design the 3rd way how we can present the same. So it's also possible. And one more option is about creative and critical thinking. So a few words about critical thinking. How do you understand this, and what are the easiest strategies, the easiest tasks that can promote critical thinking in students?
It's like given a picture and guess what the topic is.
By the way, maybe 2 years ago, approximately 2 years ago, we also had a workshop on critical thinking.
And there it was Kate, yes, where
Yes.
gave us, and there she gave us a situation, for example, when for students they are given the task and they need to solve something.
Problem solving.
Yeah, problem solving.
And if you don't have like any special task to do, or if it is just the beginning of the lesson and you need somehow to wake up your students or make them more active, more engaged in the lesson, what kind of question can you ask that can promote critical thinking?
Why are we here today?
Okay, that's a good question. Some lessons ago, I was asked this question by my students. Yes. So any types of question which are like why, what's the reason? No, it cannot be yes, no question. It cannot be a regular question as we always ask, how are you? How was your weekend? Or what did you do yesterday? It can be on the spot, unusual question, the question that they haven't expected from you. And this kind of question may also somehow invigorate your students, and they will be alert and they will think, something is wrong, something is maybe not wrong, but something is not usual. And as we finally step by step came to the main topic, like activities that can boost students' creativity. So we are going to discuss something that probably you have already used, or maybe you have heard it from your colleagues, from other teachers, but you haven't tried it yet yourself. So just to remind, to refresh what it can be and how you can use it. And we will start from the easiest one, from the easiest resource or platform that actually we are working with. So this is Zoom. What kind of tasks or activities can you set here that can promote students' creativity? What can it be?
To draw something.
Yeah.
What else? So basically we can use Zoom for several functions. It can be whiteboard, it can be chat, and it can be a poll. Anya showed us. And in the chat, I can share just a few ideas. It can be running dictation, but not in the way we used to do it in the classroom. on the board, but writing dictation meaning that they nominate each other one by one, who is given definition to the whole group. Like I give the definition to the whole group, and the first student who types in the chat the correct word is Masha. And now it's Masha's turn to give the definition for the next word, phrase, for everyone to type. So this kind of running dictation. Also, it can be used for chain story. With one of my groups, we tried this kind of story where all words were supposed to start with letter S. They picked up this letter, I don't know why, but they tried to make up a story sentence by sentence. It was quite successful, yes, because for them it was also brainstorming. They were thinking about verbs with letter S and this kind. And free writing. So what is free writing? How do you understand this notion?
Write anything you wish.
Without any given topic.
Mm-hmm. And I give no limits, or how can it happen?
Or maybe just some time limit.
Or
Maybe sentences, like write 5 sentences.
Or maybe some structures that they need to use, or like some grammar aspect.
But again, it will not be free writing.
Okay.
So free writing is just when I can tell them one word, or when I can show just a picture, and they're supposed to write anything that comes to their mind. Usually these are some separate phrases, but only intelligent and quick-minded students, they can make up like mini stories to pictures or some sentence or quote. So this is what you can use the chat in Zoom for, just a few ideas. And whiteboard, as Masha said, drawing or doodling. When the students learned this function, some of them, they have never lost the opportunity to use it, because anytime I share my screen for presentation but the screen is empty, there is one student who is drawing something, or who is drawing hello Olga or something like that. So they like it, but they do it for fun. How can we turn it into something useful?
Okay, I am now at advanced group at the distance course, and we had a task. So we had a topic about art, creativity, and so on. And our task was to draw any picture, any painting that we want. And then we had to discuss each other's paintings using some functional language and vocab from the lesson.
That's cool. That's cool.
I can also share some experience. I'm also a student on distance, and yesterday we had a topic about space and all these things, and we had a reading part, and we were divided into pairs. So one of us shared the screen, where we divided the screen into parts, exact number of parts which we read. One student had three parts, and another student had 3 parts. And one by one, while reading to the parts, another person was drawing what's happening there. Then we took a screenshot of our whole story and we sent it to our Telegram chat, and other students, they also had the same story, but now they didn't have to read it. They had to retell everything what was written, like stage by stage. And it was kind of really creative work. It seemed to be difficult because we are not artists, you know, especially I am, but it was really cool. And the way of remembering the story was like, or how to say it, retelling the story. Yes, it was really useful and so everyone liked this activity.
That's a cool idea. And also maybe you have seen in the chat Green Forest for Teachers or some level chats, like the idea for the final lesson when the whiteboard in Zoom is divided according to the number of students in groups, and they are supposed to draw the portrait of all the participants of their group. And it can happen that 2 or 3 students, they are drawing the same face, and then everyone is supposed to guess who is who. Yeah, so it can be both for fun and it can be both for some kind of useful activity. And the idea that Yulia shared is really great. And Masha, if it's not a secret, which picture did you draw?
It was an auto portrait.
Van Gogh's? Your auto portrait. I thought it would be something like sunflowers or something simple.
No, I just didn't have any ideas at all.
So ladies, do you have any other ideas how you exploited facilities in Zoom?
If we talk about drawing, for example, if it's possible.
Not only drawing.
No, for example, I had an idea. Maybe it's kind of not Pictionary, but we can draw, students can draw the words and they can like target vocab, for example. They have food, yeah, so they can draw it and, you know, like this.
Good. And after Zoom, what is the next most popular and most used platform? I cannot say platform. Okay. Application that we use now?
Telegram, Quizlet.
Yes, Viber and Telegram. Yes. So here, nothing new under the sun. So what can we do? How we can use it? It can be photo or video tasks. Again, it depends on your group. And it depends on the atmosphere and relationships between students in this group. If students feel free and comfortable, they are not afraid to send videos of themselves talking in front of the camera. That's wonderful. But there are some students who are a bit shy to do it, but you can encourage them to do it not in the chat of your group, but to send like private message to you, and only you will see this video or this kind of task. Useful links. And the main question, who is going to share these links? Who is supposed?
Students.
Students, yes. So here, now we will mostly focus on delegating, and we will focus on students' autonomy. And in other words, it can promote their creativity because it's something outside the box. It's not just the book and the task from the book. It's something that requires more efforts for them. So useful links from students. But again, you should be careful. There shouldn't be flooding in your chat, because once they start sharing, they will not stop doing this. Chain question. What can it be?
So maybe firstly you ask some question and the next person answers and they need to ask some another question. So I tried, why it's in inverted commas, because this is not some commonly used notion. This is for me. This is something that I created or something that I did and I used. So, and chain question, yes, Masha is right. With my distance group, or intensive distance group, we had past tenses, and for them, past continuous and past perfect were difficult. So yesterday and today we had a sort of discussion, but all the questions were in past tenses, simple, continuous, and perfect. Of course, not all students will participate in this discussion, so you should be ready for this. But there are 3, 4 who are quite active, and they will do it, and the rest of students, at least they will read it. And also I warned them
that if you see a mistake, you can tell that there is a mistake, or if you feel really comfortable, you can even correct the mistake. So for them, it's also good practice. Word of the day. What do you think it is?
There is such section on our Instagram account, like word of the day, but actually it can be implemented in some other way. So you can just tell them some new word, or maybe it is the word from the vocabulary which we learned, and they can make, I don't know, some sentences or tell something about themselves using this word.
Yes, yes. So usually I give them the definition of a phrase, of a word. The first person who guesses this word or phrase correctly, and this person writes the message with this word, there are two options. Either this person continues and this person will write down the next definition, or as Masha said, the next task that can be that students are supposed to use this word in their question or in their sentence. My experience shows that for students, it's easier to give the next definition, not to write sentences about themselves or to ask questions to others. I don't know why, but the practice shows this one. Polls. So you know this function in Telegram, in Viber, so you can create a poll and you can discuss almost anything if you want to get their opinion. Of course, it's not an open-ended question, but generally, if you need to gather an opinion, why not? Pronunciation drilling. Have you ever tried this in chat?
Yeah, we have tried, but my students didn't want to. I just recorded my voice, and I asked them to record their voice, but they didn't do that.
Because your
Easier for them
pronunciation is too good, Lisa.
They feel ashamed to record after you. Actually, that's a cool idea, especially with lower levels. They usually are less, they are fearless. And if you give them some tongue twister, it can be fun. Yes, it can be really fun because some students, they are so honest and sincere that they record the message and they send the message from the first time, even when they cannot read it properly. And then it's funny, and at the same time it's cute. And one more function that I tried after we started working in Zoom, again, my name of this kind of activity, the I know everything student. What do you think it is?
Probably when someone asks a question like, what is the mistake here? What's the mistake? Or how to say that correctly? You do not answer as a teacher, but you encourage others to answer, other students to answer.
I do not encourage. After the lesson, I assign a student who is the I know everything student for the next 2 days, or like between lessons, between first lesson and second lesson. So this student has the function of answering any questions that can appear in our chat. Unfortunately, not all students take it seriously. Some students take it for fun, and they can ask some silly questions like, what's the price of milk today? Or something like that. Yes, but some students are quite scrupulous, and they can ask, I was doing the homework and in exercise 7, task 2, there is a mistake, what should be the correct answer, or something like that. So it's cool, and we discuss with students that all questions must be answered. Of course, reasonable questions connected to English, connected to our lesson, so all questions must be answered. And of course, you can vary this kind of task in the chat again, not to have thousands of messages. So like 1 week you do one thing, next week another, and the third week everyone is having rest or something like that.
Sorry, may I ask?
Yes.
So I know every student can he correct only in the chat or during the lesson as well?
It's about chat.
Mm-hmm.
During the lesson, it can be as well, but you know, when it is in the chat, the student has an opportunity to check some information online using the book or any other source of information. And during the lesson, it can be not so fast and it will take your time. So it's better to do it in the chat. Any other?
No.
Okay, so our next two popular platforms, Quizlet and Kahoot, but again, we talk about students. So it's not you who create something, these are students who should create it. Of course, they know how it works and it's not difficult to do anything there. So ask your students to create a set of words of their interest. So if, for example, a student is watching some TV show, TV series, and they always do it with subtitles and they check some words. So if there are other students who watch the same TV series, TV show, you can ask one of them or do it in turns, like create several sets of words connected to, I don't know, How I Met Your Mother sitcom or something like that. And from time to time, when you want to have some fun during the lesson, you can play Quizlet with these words that students created themselves. And of course, if they create this set of words, they can share the link in Viber, in Telegram. And you can also assign a task in Quizlet, like students, if they read an article or some extra text, or if they watch a video that you assigned them, ask them to create this set of words. Not only you, but they also can do it. And they also know online dictionaries, Longman and others, so they can use it to get definitions, especially if it is intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced level. The same with Kahoot. They like playing Kahoot, yes, we all know. Why not? They can create Kahoot themselves. Of course, when my student did it, they sent, before the lesson, they sent this link to me. I checked that everything is relevant, there are no mistakes. And then, yes, it was approved and we played during the lesson. And you even cannot imagine how proud the student was that every group, not every group, two groups played Kahoot that one student created. And this student knew that another group will also play this Kahoot, and it was wonderful. And everyone in his group, they said, wow, cool, thank you. Because this student also included some kind of tricky questions, like, is it true that our group is the best? True, false? Yes, yes. And if we are talking about grammar lesson, you can ask your students to create Kahoot on difficult topic. So you know in your group which topic was or is difficult, and you can ask a volunteer or just a strong student, hardworking student to create this kind of Kahoot. That's it. And it can be also Kahoot with some interesting facts, interesting information, but you should be careful because your students may just take the Kahoot which was created by someone else, not their own, but just someone else. Anyway, it is a part of their creativity as well. They went to Kahoot and they searched for it. Have you used any other functions of these platforms, Quizlet and Kahoot?
I used Quizlet as dictation for dictation, showing them the pictures, and
Like
they
the
were
cards.
writing, yes, and then the correct answers, yes, at the end.
Yes. And the same tasks with YouTube at Puzzle. Yeah, so it can be not just to watch a video. So students, of course, they can share a video related to the topic or with some interesting information or maybe some useful vocabulary. So first they share this video, the rest of students watch, and they also should come up with some questions for checking comprehension and further discussion. So it's not just watching for fun and then forgetting, it's exploiting during the lesson. So one student is looking for such a video, and two other students, it depends on the size of your group, two other students are responsible for creating tasks for this video. And then the whole group is doing these tasks during the lesson or in the chat. It depends on the time that you have during your lessons. Nothing new, but still useful. And students are also supposed to demonstrate why this video was useful for them. So how can they do it?
To give the feedback and highlight some interesting moments.
And of course, was it useful or it wasn't useful? You can see just because of the discussion that they have. If they are reluctant and lazy or silent, you understand that maybe it was not useful, or they haven't just watched it, or it was not really interesting for them and they just skipped it and didn't watch till the end. But here you should have an agreement with your students that if you take this extra activity, so everyone should participate, because it takes part of the lesson, of the group lesson. And while some students are working, other students shouldn't have rest. Everyone should work. And also for maybe for final lesson, I had it with my group. We had extra lesson for fun. And they agreed that they will find some episodes, short episodes, 2, 3, maximum 5 minutes from their favorite TV series and TV shows, and even cartoons. And they created, like on Google Drive, they created some document and they sent links to this document. And during the lesson, we watched videos that they sent there. And each student tried to explain why he or she likes these episodes so much, or why he or she likes this cartoon in general, and so on. So it was cool, and it was interesting to see your students' preferences, because you may think that you know everything about them, but when you watch their favorite videos, you may change your opinion of your students. And if we speak about videos, there is one more application which is available for Android and Apple devices, and you can see the name of this application. So why it is good? Because you can watch not just watch a film with subtitles and in different languages. There are 5 languages available, but also you can like split the screen, and you can see only the video, and you can see only the script, the subtitles. Also, you can practice the words and phrases from the movies using the flashcards, which are already there. They are already created. And also it is cool. Why? Because you can use it like for role play. if it is a well-known movie, or if it is the movie that everyone likes, you can take a part, you can take an episode from this movie and you can role play it during the lesson, because there are lines like script of this movie, and it can easily be divided between students and they can demonstrate it. But in my opinion, it's better to do it not online, but I mean role play, but in real classroom. That would be more interesting and entertaining for students. And also voice acting activities, it's for students who are fond of pronunciation, if there are any, or maybe singers, they like training their voice as well. So cool application, and really useful, and a lot of tasks you can take from there. Not just take, or you can show once, you can demonstrate, and I suppose your students will like it as well. And this one, I know that some of you have already tried it. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I've
Yes.
heard it.
Yes, so Yulia, what can you tell about it?
So actually, it's good to use, like there students can vote. For example, you can use it to even to, I don't know, to revise. For example, if it's a higher levels, you can, if you have grammar topic and they already know some, you know, information about that. So to revise it, you can put some, I don't know, sentences, I don't know, or the usage of some structures, and they can vote on
Whether it's correct
yeah,
or not.
yes. Or also they can, if I'm not mistaken, they can vote there, also choose one of like multiple choice and something else. But to be honest, I don't remember what exactly.
Actually, there are a lot of different templates available for you to create a poll and to have like two-side connection between you and your students, and we can try it. You can try how it works. You will need, just a second, you will need your phone or some other device. So here is just one slide, just to give you an idea how it can look and how it can work. If we talk from the point of view of students, it's the same as they use Kahoot or Quizlet. So they need the browser and they need the code. Cool. And I wonder who is this student? No?
Maybe it's me. I don't know, maybe I accidentally pressed. Maybe I didn't get it right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good. So it was just one of the templates, but as Yulia said, there is also an open-ended question. It can look like pie chart or bar, how it's called. So there are actually different templates, and if you have some maybe free half an hour, you can play with it. And also it has really beautiful interface. I mean, background, you can choose anything. So it's really cool. And if we are talking about something visual and something that can catch our students' eye, can catch our students' attention, could you please tell me what we usually did at the end of semester, like when we had revision lessons? Something, again, something visual.
Quiz? Quest?
Mm-hmm. And something that was not in the whole office, but something that was only in one room in your class. We used to create posters. Yes, and right now we have an opportunity to do it using Jamboard. I know that most teachers used Jamboard to play board games because there is an option for students to move the counters across the board game. But also you can use it to create any poster because there are stickers, they can insert pictures, they can write something, they can draw something, and it can be done for fun. And of course, it can be done for revision as well. So this is Jamboard. And if your students are into some kind of technologies and they like creating something new, you can ask them to create a short video presentation. It looks like PowerPoint presentation, but animated one. It's quite easy to use. I mean, the interface is not complicated. And just right there, you have a function to share this final presentation via social media or even upload to YouTube. But I guess your students will not do it. And this is very cool for last lessons. Because you can ask your students to create a video like sharing their impressions during the semester or what they are proud of, or just any, the topic can be absolutely different, but the video, this presentation would be nice and catchy and memorable for all students and for you as well as a teacher. And one more, actually the idea that came to me this night, I'm not really sure that it can work, but you never know and you can try. What do you think about this?
It's like talking to foreigners.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just talking, it's also an opportunity to make some money if you are a native speaker. So there are plenty of such applications. The main principle, so native speakers are like tutors. So we can be tutors of Russian or Ukrainian. Our students as well can be tutors of Russian or Ukrainian, but to English-speaking people. And my idea was the following. To be honest, I haven't asked my students to do it, but maybe with upper levels, like upper intermediate and advanced, it can work. You can ask them to register there, it's for free, and to find someone and teach this person a few lessons of Russian or Ukrainian, but in English. And it can be really unforgettable experience because, you know, there is a proverb that Sandy, when we teach someone, we learn better ourselves. So they will teach in English, and for them it can be absolutely new experience, can be something definitely outside the box and something that can help them understand what it's like to be a teacher, to be in your shoes. And maybe after that they will value what you do, they will value it more. So what do you think about this idea?
It's interesting.
Do you dare to try it with your students?
Nope.
Of course, Masha, with elementary, no.
Because I'm just thinking that I would never dare to teach Russian.
Why?
I don't know, it seems to me that that's impossible.
But you can recall how you taught English at starter level. So there were just some simple words, phrases. Students can do the same.
And mostly on these websites, they tend to learn like speaking language. So they don't ask you for rules, they just ask you for practice. So you practice with them basic dialogues, and that works very good. So actually I tried some of them on my own, and well, that worked fine. So I think that would work very well with upper levels too. Yeah.
And Polina, did you try as a teacher, as a tutor, or as a student?
Both. So actually that was, firstly, I was taught English by them, and then I worked as a Russian and Ukrainian tutor for them. So yeah, it was like an exchange. Usually
Yes,
you
you
say,
trade lessons. Yes, yes. It works like this for italki and for
and also there
MyStalk.
is a website Tandem. So italki is worse. Right now there are a lot of Arabic people, and
They are everywhere.
yeah, okay, that's true. But Tandem right now works better, I think.
One of the latest is MyStalk. It's
And I
Chinese
still
app.
even haven't tried.
If I'm not mistaken, it was launched last year. And since it's quite new, so there may be not so many unpleasant guests on this
I will try
website
it.
and
Yeah.
app as well.
It's good.
But it can be a challenge for your students. It mustn't be an obligatory task. It's just for their own wish. Why not? I guess one or two students will be confident enough to try it, at least to try it. And ladies, maybe you can share some other ideas of applications or resources that might be helpful to boost students' creativity. No?
I recently tried Bamboozle. Not Bamboozle, I'm sorry. Book widgets. Yeah, and I realized that there are a lot of functions there that teacher can try and students can try. I really like it now with flashcards and with wheels. That can be, for example, you can create like 2 or 3 wheels. And for my final lesson with the intermediate grammar, I created 3 wheels with 2 pictures and a task. For example, create a sentence in conditional, like any sentence. And they have 2 funny pictures, and they have to create some sentence using conditional and connect with these 2 pictures. So like
That's
this.
cool. Yes. Any other ideas?
Nope.
No. Okay. At least thank you that you said no. So as we were talking about boosting our students' creativity, I think it's worth mentioning that teachers sometimes need or should boost their own creativity, because anyway, your students will not be creative every lesson. And it's up to you to continue being creative yourself during the whole semester. And that's why, last but not least, so what can be helpful to you personally? This is something that we discussed at the beginning of our workshop. So don't limit the understanding of creativity. And the students who sometimes misbehave at your lessons, they can be a source of creative ideas for you for further lessons. In your opinion, how it is possible to do? to experiment with new ways of teaching.
Like try one new feature every time, for example, in Zoom, or yeah, from today's workshop, for example, every time to try something new.
Unfortunately, with Zoom, we still have some sort of limits, but soon we will return to the office and we will use all the benefits of offline teaching, and then of course we will experiment with new ways. Express your own creative side. So at the beginning, when you were discussing some statements in Bamboozle, there was one of the statements that we ask our students to be creative, but they should have the passion inside. They should have their inner motivation. And first of all, the teacher must be motivated and created because they feel it and they can catch it from you. And if you have this creative side, but I'm sure everyone has, it's different for everyone, just don't be afraid to demonstrate it. And your students will look at you from the whole new perspective, and they will perceive you not just as a talking head in Zoom or just some kind of teacher in real life, but they will perceive you as a personality, of course, first and most important, as a person. And one more. Develop personal creative rituals. What do you think it is?
Like have something as a habit, something creative every day.
So some people have a set of activities that can stimulate creative process in their head. I know people who stimulate their creativity when they take shower. So for them, shower is a must. They come up with new ideas in the shower. I know people who go for a walk, and while going for a walk, they even don't listen to music, they listen to themselves. I know people who use this quite popular technique. It's called like morning pages. And by the way, it's quite useful. Do you know about this technique? It's when you wake up in the morning, it's better to do it early. Of course, if you're not a night owl. So try to wake up 20-30 minutes earlier, your usual time when you wake up. And keep a habit of writing down all thoughts that you have on your mind. It mustn't be some meaningful sentences. It can be just a set of words or a set of phrases, and you need to do it for at least 15-20 minutes. And within quite short period of time, you will understand and you will see that your brain can come up with some unusual ideas, can come up with some solutions to the problems or some questions that you have to solve, just because you write it down. So if you are interested in this, you may try it. And switch up your daily routines. I'm sure you know this advice. The easiest way how we can do it in normal life is to change the route to our work or the route home. Yes, but now our route is from one room to another. But you can try going outside if you have good internet outside. Yes, why not? And the last one, embrace ambiguity. What do you think it is?
That everything is not just black and white. It can be different, and the ideas can be different, and it doesn't mean that somebody is wrong just because you think that you are right.
Yes, and also when we try to analyze the way we teach, we usually understand that we ask our students to pay attention to mistakes, to pay attention to, I don't know, the words that they mispronounce, and ask our students to learn from these mistakes. But at the same time, we can do it ourselves. So we can learn from what we do wrong, not just continue doing what we do right always. We can analyze what was wrong, or we can ask our, I don't know, our colleague to analyze it, and we can learn also from our failure. And yes, everything is not just black and white. And finally, just food for thought. So while I was preparing for this workshop, I came across the book, I read the reviews, and I read just several pages that I was interested in. And how to think like Leonardo da Vinci. Actually, this man was really great. And in that book, I read about his so-called notebooks. Have you ever heard about his notebooks?
Mm-hmm.
So why he became so great? Because during his life, he had several hundreds of these kind of notebooks. And in this notebook, he wrote any unusual questions that he had in his head, something like, why don't woodpeckers have a headache, or something like that. He created some really funny to-do list for himself, and from time to time, so after certain period of time, he returned to these questions, and he understood that he already knows the answers to some of these questions, just because once he was thinking about it, and then day after day he found the information that was the answer. And how you can use it, not this book, but in general, the idea. It can work at the beginning of the semester. So you can ask your students, or if you are responsible enough, you can do it yourself, just with one group as an experiment. So keep some notebook where you can write down some really creative task that worked well, or you can write down your students' interests just to know them better and to cater to their interests and needs better. And also what you can write in this notebook, you can, anytime when students' question is not connected to your lesson, you can write it down, and it can go to the end of the semester. And at the end of the semester, maybe 10-15 minutes, you can discuss the questions that students asked during the semester. Or also you can remind students of these questions, send these questions to them, and ask them if they already know the answers to these questions or no. Or you can find out that some answers are already familiar to them, and you will analyze just maybe 5 or 10 questions. And also, this book can inspire 100 questions challenge. So write down 100 questions in one sitting, questions about anything. Just like Leonardo da Vinci, why don't woodpeckers have a headache? And you can do it together with your students. For example, you have 10 students in your group, so each student is supposed to write 10 questions, and then you can keep it somewhere on Google Drive, just like in the open access. And from time to time, you can remind your students to look in these questions and find answers to these questions, like every week, 2 questions or something like that. and it will keep them motivated, and it will keep you motivated as well, because you do something not just according to the curriculum, but you do something which was asked by students and which could be interesting to your students as well. So finally, that's it from me. This speaking head is going to be silent. And I'm ready to hear questions or feedback or anything you'd like to share.
Thank you very much, Olga. It was very interesting.
Actually, I was hoping to hear feedback like, that was interesting. This I have already tried. It was not new for me.
I have already installed, I will tell you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apps.
Oh my God.
I talk it on them, Mentimeter.
Are you going to have a lesson today?
Yes, sure.
Yes. So you will do it, I mean, you will explore these applications after.
Yes, sure. Today I'll do that. I especially like the idea of being a mentor to some foreign, to exchange the language, exchange the dialects. I would love to do that.
I really like the idea with a student's creativity like a teacher, with the Quizlet Kahoot that they create. Or
Agree.
Teaching others the language and so on, because that was my question, like Leonardo da Vinci. I also had some questions with the students at the end of the semester with grammar. I asked myself, like, what can really help students understand all the material during the semester, because we actually have a lot of different topics in each lesson, a new topic and so on. And of course, some of the students, they say at the end that it's too much, and it's hard to keep everything in mind and use it and so on. And then I thought back in my times what helped me learn grammar, and when was my peak, when was my top of understanding grammar. And I realized that my top was when I started teaching. And that's why I really wanted, this idea was interesting for me, and I wanted to implement it also for students, that students, they also can teach sometimes, and that will help them understand more. And they will have like more sense of responsibility for others.
And for them, it will be a kind of insight, and it will be useful insight.
Yeah,
I think that it can be implemented for the last lesson, final lesson, or like pre-final lesson, where they can revise. Definitely can. Yeah, so they can revise, or before finals. So like to give each student a grammar topic, so they can
revision.
Revision. Yes, you
it's
can
really cool.
elicit from your students, like for PETA, conditional sentences were difficult, for what I don't know, comparisons of adjectives were difficult. So they will prepare the topic which was problematic for them. Yes, it's cool. I had it once with my advanced students, but that group was just amazing, and that's why it worked really well. So, ladies, if you don't have any other questions or any other ideas, thank you very much for joining me today. And I wish you to have funny and exciting last lessons in this semester, and good, energetic beginning of the next semester.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Olga, may I ask just personally some questions?
Yes.
About this, yeah, but not to take time with the girls.